Good morning, everybody. I hope your Wednesday is going well so far. Since I was a kid, I struggled with my self-image and my self-confidence. While the focus of those issues have changed over the years, one of the roots was that I was born with a minor birth defect. Back in 1993, in the cold months of December. Let me set up my thing. Can I start it again, or are you going to lose your mind?
I might lose it again, but you can sure try.
Okay. Back in December of 1993, I entered the world missing a small piece of my upper lip. In the medical world, this is known as a cleft lip, from the word cleft, meaning to split, and the word lip, meaning the thing that's on your face.
With how you're telling this story.
Now, this is not good for a variety of reasons. The chief reason being that if you have a cleft lip, you're not able to... How do I word this without being weird? The chief reason being, without your lips closing, you're not able to drink liquid, which you need, obviously, to survive at that stage in development. Being born in a developing country can mean that you don't survive from a lack of nutrition, from a lack of food sustenance entering your body. Due to being born in the US, I had access to the surgery that I needed to seal up my lip. And not just one surgery, but many surgeries over the course of my childhood were needed to both hold my lip together and then to make it look better. As I grew up, if you have a defect, either real or perceived, you grow up recognizing when people look at that specific part of your body. I've always been a really social kid, so I wanted to interact with people who were around me. And I realized pretty early on that people would not only look at my lip, but would ask me about it. And I would answer them because I like to be helpful. I like to inform. But in the back of my mind, I would think, why do these people want to know about my lip? Why can't they just accept it? That's the way my lip is and we can move on. And I think pretty early on, I began to think that people were being negative, when in reality, I think just kids are generally curious. Yes, kids can be mean, but I think that I was wrong at that point to assume that people were being mean to me just because they wanted to know why I was different. So throughout elementary and middle school in particular, I always had this thought in the back of my mind that I was different and that everybody could see it. And so I worked on compensating for that by being outgoing, by being friendly, doing everything that was in my power to interact with people in a positive way. I think that a lot of my ongoing struggle with my self-image, specifically in regard to my weight, is related to some of these struggles that I had when I was a kid, when I thought people are looking at me, people are thinking things in their head, they're not telling me what they actually think. And obviously that's not a healthy way to live, but that's the way that I grew up. That's the way that I learned to live. And I would say that it's not my assumption now that people look at me and think anything about my lip or about my weight, but it's that self-perception telling yourself that that's how they must think. That's what is going on in their head. A funny thing that I've noticed throughout my life, especially when I've worked directly with kids either as a camp counselor or as a daycare teacher, kids are just brutally honest. And so as an adult, I hadn't heard many questions about my lip, except from the mouths of children who would say, what happened to you? Why is your lip like that? And by the time that I was an adult, I had learned that those questions were acceptable, and I would be obviously happy to answer about the way that I was born different. The reason that I'm sharing this with you this morning is that I just want to give you a little bit more insight into my life, number one, but then also to encourage you, if you've got something that you think everybody is paying attention to, number one, I want to say they're probably not. And number two, I want to say that even though you might not be able to change that, and there are things, obviously, some things are in your control, but not everything is. If there's something that you can't change, you can either live the rest of your life frustrated by that, or you can turn it into a positive. And so for me, one of the ways that I shifted my negative self-image was that I recognized that I was loved and that I was lovable both by God and the people that are around me. And then I put myself into situations where I could boost my self-confidence, specifically by doing public speaking, interacting with people, encouraging people, to the point where I believe that being born with a cleft lip was a gift. It wasn't just a negative thing, but it has, I think more than anything, given me the ability to empathize with people who go through similar things or much worse, much more difficult things than I could even imagine. So I'm grateful that I was born with a cleft lip. I think that I would be a completely different person had that not been the case. I think one final takeaway is that if you're struggling with thoughts like this, I want you to challenge those beliefs that your brain tells you are true. That people are looking at you, people are judging you, people are not willing to say these things to your face. Challenge that by giving your own experience meaning. Challenge that by infusing positivity of your experience. And by doing that, I believe that you'll impact not only yourself and those thoughts that are so pervasive, but also the people around you. So that's part of the story of me and my cleft lip. I think there are many more parts that I could tell, but I just wanted to give you some insight into the internal world of a person who was born with a minor birth defect. I've been Matt. Thank you so much for watching. If this means something to you, please let me know down in the comments. I think people struggle with things like this more than we readily talk about, and I would love to talk to you about it. I will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Push the button.
I'm pushing the button.
Push the button.
Pushing the button.
Push the button.
I'm pushing the button.
Push the button.
Push the button.